Growing up, Bexy Cameron was told she was special and that she had been chosen to fight in the Jesus Army, but as a child soldier of God she was warned she would die in battle at his second coming and would not live to see her adult years.
Confusingly, Bexy was also told she was evil and was to be exorcised at just 9 years old. Before being banned from speaking for nearly a whole year. All of this happened inside a cult called the Children of God that was confusing and controlling of all of its members in various ways. Bexy was raised as a soldier that was going to die at the Armageddon.
She was told she would have lasers coming out of her eyes and would breathe fire, but it was damaging to think she would never grow up and would not supposedly have a future to look forward to. She grew up thinking the end of the world was coming and the whole world would be destroyed with the return of the Antichrist, and her job was to be raised to fight in that war. Founded in Huntington Beach, California in 1968, the Children of God was the brainchild of pastor-turned-prophet David Berg. He claimed to be a channel of God and prophesied about Christ's second coming. His spiritual message of revolution and happiness caught on following the Summer of Love, winning him thousands of followers. The sect grew quickly around the world. Quickly the sect grew. In the 1970s the cult had around 15,000 members living in 130 international communities. David Berg was known by many names: Moses David, King David, Father David and Dad, as well as Grandpa to his followers. He was also a polygamist. He advocated strange practices with children, telling them that God was love and love was sex, so there should be no limits regarding the age, exploiting the free love movement. He encouraged his followers to have relations with each other, including the children. Bexy spent the first 15 years of her life inside the cult with her parents Martin and Linda, who changed their names to Gideon and Rachel. The Children of God was a sexually deviant group led by a man who thought he was a prophet but ended up being a predator. It started out with a powerful message of the world's end, but within years had turned into a damaging cult. The cult encouraged mass orgies and were the common place for sexual abuse, and Berg was alleged to have assaulted young girls, including his own daughter and granddaughter, although he was never charged and not arrested as he went into hiding. Bexy revealed she had been encouraged at just 8 years of age to have relations with another boy. David Berg was a predator and grew up with the idea that sex with children was just the norm. The Children of God cult was an evil entity in many ways. In 1973, Berg made a new policy instructing female members to practice flirty fishing and become hookers for Jesus, earning the sect the nickname of the sex cult. The women would seduce men in bars to get them to join the group, and hundreds of thousands of men were fished before the practice was discontinued in 1987. Public beatings happened regularly and food was not readily available. At one point the members were fed horse food disguised as bran flakes. Imagine waking up in a commune deep in the British countryside, but you don't know the address of where you are, and you share a 15 by 15 feet room with 15 other girls, and the majority aren't related to you. Bexy said children were the workforce. Bexy spent the day divided between looking after the younger children as well as cooking and cleaning in between prayers. She was cooking for up to 100 members when she was just 9 years old. It was a toxic and dangerous environment. The group forced her to watch others and then had to report. They had to tell on each other and conspire against each other. We were prisoners living in a commune. The members had a singular purpose: to be a soldier of Christ. When Bexy was 9 years old, she was caught stealing and would experience her first exorcism, an event that continues to traumatize her to this day. The exorcism told her she was evil and is quite a scary thing to experience as a child. When she turned 27, all these past events started to hit her in the face. It took years to realize a lot of things back then were wrong. When you turn 10 years old, you are enrolled in a training camp known as End of Time Army Training. There you are placed in silent restriction, where she was forbidden to speak or communicate with anyone else for 11 months. All while being separated from your own family. That whole year was one of the defining moments of her life. By age 15, after meeting some local teens and finding herself a secret boyfriend, she sneakily got a job in a nearby pub only to be caught when her employer called after she accidentally gave them her house telephone number instead of her boyfriend's phone number. She was kicked out of the Children of God following an unanimous vote, with her parents also voting against her, but I had wanted to leave anyway. Their parents and siblings remained in the cult for now, but eventually all her siblings would leave the cult, but her parents would continue to stay. Now 40 years old, Bexy have carved out a successful career as a filmmaker and activist. She reveals she had come to terms what had happened to her over those years. Being denied a reality as a child has given her bigger scars than any beating ever could have.